Hello everybody, boys and girls, moms and dads everywhere. It's April 19th.
Good Friday.
Good, bad Friday. However you want to look at it. We're going to do a presentation about the Reptilian ship. Kind of like been a theme the last few weeks. The Andromedans weren't ready. They had something going on and they weren't ready to contact us. So Bob thought he would contact the Reptilian ship that's working with the Andromedans. And it has some people on board we've been in contact with for a very long time.
Yeah.
And also, I think this is maybe a step toward an effort, all depending on how far and wide this video reaches, but an effort to paint the reptilians in a different light, to show that there are in fact good reptilians out there.
Yeah.
That you almost never hear about that. Almost all of them are painted in this light of killing and eating babies and humans and stuff, carnivores running around. Business, and that's actually at this point it's very, very, very. It's a very, very, very small minority of them that are still left. In fact, most of them are hiding and running for their lives.
Yeah. So,
Bob's going to start out by showing some pictures.
Yeah.
Some graphics that he's done that will help illustrate what's going on, what he's seeing, because what he's going to do is he can't show you these pictures while he's doing it because he's going to be doing an out of body, and the captain, who we know as Gary.
Actually, he's not captain. Lead senator.
You cut me off. I was getting to that. He is like the president of the reptilians.
Yeah.
They call it the lead senator. They have roughly, in the Reptilian Empire, there is roughly, I think there's around 1,000 senators.
Give or take, more like...
Kind of like their version of Congress.
Well, sort of.
And so anyway, he's the head caboodle. And he is on a ship and has been stationed on a ship. For the most part, around our in our solar system, mostly stationed around Earth. There was a time in the recent past when we were contacting and working with them almost on a daily basis.
Yeah.
There could be just volumes and volumes and volumes of books and things written, and exciting action movies, truly, that could be written about capers and things that were involved in the last so many years with that. There have been this world has been in a whole lot of really close calls, saved by a lot of different personalities at the last moment, and the people of Earth, for the most part, are completely insulated from that.
Yeah, unaware,
blissfully unaware.
Yeah. And I'm glad they are.
So that's a little bit of that. Why don't you start, Bob?
And like Paul was saying, excuse me, some of this, if it was made into a book or a movie, it would seem like sci-fi, but it's not. It's fact. It's happened. It's been our lives. This first picture, I'm not sure how well it'll be picked up. This is a graphic I did of Gary. The beginning of his reptilian name is Gare, and I think the term Ray means something there. But he he's told me to call him Gary. He's the guy I met when I was like 4 years old, and met him again when I was like 61. Actually, we started dating.
Well, you met him way before 61.
I mean, I think I was 61 at the time. 60 or 61.
You're 67 now, right?
No, 69. I'll
69.
be 70 in May.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Wouldn't you know?
What else you
Turn off
got?
on me?
Well, get to the next picture.
Okay. This greeted me one time when I was doing an OBE, out-of-body excursion onto another craft that Gary was on. And he was standing there in his suite with a model of the starship Enterprise, which he knows I love Star Trek. And so he's standing there with this big smile, kind of pointing at the Enterprise. And
If any of you people are unsure, we are talking about and showing a countenance of the former President Obama.
right. There was, I don't know if I should even get into this or not. There was a period of time, hope I don't get fussed at, short period of time, when I actually was lead senator of the Reptilian Alliance as they were switching from empire into a republic. A very military republic, but a republic. This is one of the suites. It's the living room area of Gary's suite. Most of their locations on board are kind of dark, and it deals with their eyesight and everything. Far more sensitive in many ways than ours. And that crystalline chandelier, or whatever it is, was apparently real crystal, some sort of a light source.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
This is the, pardon? This is the Garon. Hey, I said it right for a change. Named after Gary, the Garon. It's their, 13-mile long battle cruiser. Recently, the Andromedans had told the Reptilians to leave the solar system. They chose to do so instead of starting a skirmish about it. Then the Andromedans more recently invited them back. So they're back with us again now. Another graphic of Gary. Now, people have said that they can't shapeshift in physicality. Yes, they can. It's not just a telepathic scream. It's real, physically real. Not just mentally real, but physically real.
Well, there's a lot of half-truths out there.
Oh, heck yeah.
You know.
From people who mean well, but don't necessarily know the full situation themselves. We have to remember there are different factions of reptilians. It's not just one group.
Yeah. And for any of you people out there that are concerned about the close influence that Bob has had with them, because they are extremely psychic and have a lot of powers of not just observation, but of what's the word? Persuasion.
That too.
Persuasion. Because Bob knows who he is, who he's been, who he's always been, there's not a being in the multiverse that could usurp his intent,
Right.
his will. Okay? So, there's, it's been attempted many, at this point, countless times, right, Bob? Countless times they've tried to, various different bad factions and demons and what have you have tried to take over Bob's mind and do what have
It's
you.
been a waste of their time.
In fact, many times it's come across in a situation where, using, various powers of witchcraft and or technologies, they thought, they had it in the bag. But every single time, Bob proved them wrong. And he got on top of the situation. And usually when things were that treacherous, he didn't hold back a lot.
Right.
And did some soul shredding of his own.
Yeah.
Without technology. And that's where it's at, folks. That idea, that fact, that when it comes down to the end of the day, we don't need technology. We truly don't need technology. In a lot of ways, technology is a crutch. It's a tool, but the more you use it, it becomes a crutch, and it takes you away from knowing who you are, forgetting that you can do some of these things yourself. And a lot of our alien space brothers are in the same boat with their high technologies, And but most humans, and especially our secret government, is looking at them like they're big brother, and they're all starry-eyed, and they want to get this technology and have it, hold it, use it. Of course, a lot of them want to use it for some nefarious reasons. But, they think that's it, and you have a whole movement now that's really dark.
Just don't get into that.
You don't know what I'm going to say. I know you don't. I'm not going there. I'm going to just say that the people that are, that think that they are putting humanity in the next level, all these people, what's the term? They wanna meld technology with biology, and there's a lot of young people, science people, what have you, running around with all kinds of gadgets plugged into their head and in their body and all kinds of stuff, and again, this stuff can do a little bit, but in the long run, I hope it's found out sooner than later. This stuff can, really mess you up, cause long-term problems. It's not the way. The way is to learning, who we are, and unlocking our abilities energetically, and the natural way, the holistic way. And once we key into that, we won't need this technology crap. Most of it, a whole lot of it, won't need it. DNA is a construct of light. All right.
There's a mistake that we made. The being known as Lucifer originally brought us tools in order to help us, supposedly. I think the original intent was to help us. This is not in defense of Lucifer, don't get me wrong. But unfortunately, we began to replace a direct relationship with God, with a relationship with tools. And we let tools and acquiring of tools become the master instead of us being the master. That's where it really went wrong. Our government, evidently, from a number of comments and commentaries, documentaries and studies, research that has been made deals with the devil, so to speak, in order to get technology. We were apparently offered the opportunity to give up our nuclear capability and get help from beneficial extraterrestrials, and we laughed in their face and said no.
We've covered that a whole lot of times in ways.
This is we're having to deal with the results of that now. And one of the meetings that I used to attend was actually a New Year's Eve meeting in Central Florida. this retired colonel from the Air Force came up to me with his arms folded like this. You know, the body language says a lot. You don't always have to be psychic. And he comes over and says, "Bob, may I ask you a question?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" And he says, "Do you know of some way to fight against the ETs?" And I said, "Well, I've tried a couple of techniques that didn't work as well as I'd hoped they would, so right now, no, but I'm still trying." The poor guy, his arms fall down by his side, shoulders droop, he looks dejected, and he's shaking his head like there's no hope. At that point I said, "What's going on? Are they satanic?" And he said, "Well, we think something like that." This is back in 1991. I don't doubt for a minute the reptilians, even the good ones we're dealing with now, were behind some of this dark stuff. They were. But they have gone way out of their way to get rid of some of their oldest families who were among the fallen ones, so they can start a whole different way of life. There are other factions who haven't joined them yet. So I'm going to go out now and see if I can find the Garan. And either Gary or the Captain Craig. Craigor is the beginning of his reptilian name. They told me to call him Craig. Either one of the two of them will lead me on this tour. Now, I have the advantage here because I've been on their ship, physically as well as out of body. So here we go.
So I think I was just going to say this will be a lot more relatable because
Yeah.
the reptilians, for the most part, are in 3D going into 4D like we are. So their environment will be a lot more recognizable to you and relatable than the Andromedan craft.
Okay, I've found the Garan. It's over It's over California. Between, if I had to line it up down to the earth, it would be like mid-California coast on the Pacific. And it's almost like I'm being psychically directed in. Hi, Gary.
Hey, Gary. It's been a while.
He just waved. He's taking off a space helmet. We're in one of their landing bays. Right now I'm looking at, I guess if I was to say the size of this craft that has landed inside the landing bay, I'm seeing it from the bottom of it basically, but I would say it would be about the size of an F-15.
Okay.
It's semi-triangular. There are wings, but they're attached to the craft where you can't see any welds or joins or anything like that. In some circumstances, those wings will tend to slightly curve down a little. Let me check. Gary, is it okay if I'm... Okay. It's all right for me to tell you about this, I guess. How am I feeling? Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, still some of the same problems. Gary says he wants to extend a joy-filled Easter to everyone on earth who follows this tradition, he says.
Thank you.
Gary, can I? Let me just see how I'm going to put this. Back during the time of Christ, you were on the earth then. May I say as whom? He just said, go ahead. You were the great physician, Luke, in giving your background in medicine and also in psychology and parapsychology. You know, I think you're well suited for that. Where? Okay, let me explain first. There's this really huge area. I'm going to say it's about the size of a football field. It's one of their smaller landing bays. Does that tell you something? Okay, we're talking about a craft that's about 13 miles long. Across from me there are curved walls with darkish greenish curved windows in them that run laterally in the middle of these walls. Then there's hallways in between some of these walled off areas. Gary's telling me to wait for him in one of the offices, as he's putting it, across from me. He said, well, as humans would put it, he has to do a little bit of paperwork. Yeah, there's no paper involved, I know. I'm moving towards this office area, for lack of a better word. Hi, sir. Do you speak English? There is this reptilian. He is not shape-shifted human, and he's laughing. I think he's laughing. And he's coming back with a statement, why would I want to? Well, your lead senator just told me to come in here and wait for him. Thank you. This guy just told me, well, you're more than welcome. Okay, yeah, I see it. I'm being pointed back around to look at the opening where I came into the craft. It's closing down now. Of course, I still see the sort of like a scout craft that I was looking at when I first came in here. Like a rush of air, cold as can be, in that bigger area. I can see why Gary was able to take off his space helmet, because it's there is air in there. There's definitely a rush of air moving around in there. I guess as much as possible. May I ask your name? Memphis? Maphis? Maphis, okay. Maphis says he was asking if everybody down here is okay.
Not bad. Please meet your acquaintance, Maphis. This is Paul. I don't think I've met you before.
Says he's fairly new to the crew, just came on board by our standards about 2 months ago. He just said, "Don't worry, I've been fully vetted." Hi Gary, again. Been talking with Maphis. Where? Oh, CNC? You sure about that? Okay, I'll meet you there then. I'll go there. CNC, that's the control deck, control area. Oh, command and control. Gary says he'll meet me there. They can actually teleport from one point of the ship to another, so they've got it down to an art. Okay. Hi, Craig. Captain Craigor is greeting me. There's a large circular room here. Trying to think. He says about 20 feet in circumference. 20 feet across, I'm sorry. Okay. There is a dome on the top of this room. It's not a high dome, it's a kind of a low domed fixture. Soft light. I don't see any bulbs or anything. The walls are charcoal gray. The floor is charcoal gray. Seems to be a resilient form of carpeting. Little bits of red in it. There is a curved panel that runs around this entire room, with the exception of a couple of doorways. Excuse me. I see about 5 different crew members at different locations manning this panel. I don't see any buttons or knobs or levers or anything like that. This is okay. Craig says it's all touch sensitive stuff. He said that's something that even humans are working with now. He says he has to say that we're an amazing people. No, I hadn't thought of that. I'm sorry. Craig was asking if I wanted to describe the outfit like he's wearing. Of course, long pants, long sleeve. Looks like one. It's not one fit? Okay. Black cloth-like outfit, has a collar that can fasten all the way up or be left open, and it's kind of high in the back and low around the, comes down around the upper shoulders area. Oh, I see. There are different protection elements and heating elements built into the fibers of this intelligent